Hello and welcome back to my channel. For this video I am using some different stamps today. I am using Honeybee's Piece of Cake stamp for the little cupcake and the icing. And I'm going to use Mama Elephant Little Mummy Agenda. I had some other ones I thought I would use, and I definitely want to later, but I just stuck to the little mummies today. To start with, I have stamped and fussy cut some masks of my different parts. I am going to need a mask for each one, but for now I'm just using these few just to give an idea of what I need to stamp down first, because this will be a one-layer card. I don't usually like to do masking, mostly because I don't like to fussy cut, but for this, it's very satisfying when you actually do it. Now here I'm just restamping the little cupcake liner because it wasn't perfect. And now I'm going to add my little frosting on top, and since I have my other things already masked off, you'll still see the lines you're supposed to and not the ones that I don't want you to. For my end cupcakes, I am stamping them a little bit higher. I just want them to look like they're a little bit pushed behind the front cupcake. Now here you can see I do have a little bit of a faint line from where I stuck the dirty stamp on my paper. Whoops! Probably shouldn't do that. I got lazy. Luckily, it's going to be dark enough that you're not really going to see those lines in the finished card. Now that everything has been stamped down, I do need to add masks to everything, and I cheated on one of the cupcakes. I just took a Post-it note and I cut it roughly to the shape of the cupcake liner because it was fairly, straight lines. I didn't really have to worry too much about it. Now here I am going to use my Stormy Sky, Faded Jeans, and Black Soot Distress Oxides just to ink up around the edges. This is why I had to have the masks in place. I'm starting with my lightest color. I just want to give it a decent coat. I do go back and forth between this and Faded Jeans, and I'm just keeping the darker bits around the edges and it lighter in the center. I also wanted the bottom a little bit darker just to kind of help ground the cupcakes. Once I have inked up enough of the blue, I do go in with my black soot just to darken up the edges. I really wanted a sort of dark and not really dirty look, but definitely nighttime sort of grungy, I guess. For my splatters today, I decided to bust out my Distress inks. These are a little bit different from the oxides. I couldn't tell you all the ways that they're different. I know that these don't dry with a chalky finish, and they are a little bit more, I think, saturated in the colors. They're brighter or whatever. But I enjoyed mixing the two. I don't usually do it. Of course, I tend to forget that I have the Distress inks. Anyway, pulling off the masks, so satisfying. And now I found a marker that I thought might be decently close to the Stormy Sky, which was B93. And I'm just covering up any little white areas. And now I'm going to move on to my mummies, and I'm using some light warm grays. And I'm just going to give them a little bit of color. It's not a whole lot. You could use probably just one and it'd be fine. I always overdo it with these. I know they're small images. I know that too many colors, you're not really going to notice them too much, but I just can't help myself. Moving on to the skin tones of each mummy, I am going to keep them all a little bit different. For the first one, I'm using E00 and E11. I'm making it darker on each side of the face and around the nose. My next one is E13 and E15. Same thing, darker on the sides and at the nose, and I'll blend it out with the lighter color. And then for my final one, I am using E51 and E53. These colors were almost picked at random, really. I didn't have any specific colors in mind. I just grabbed a couple different ones because I wanted them to all look slightly different. Now for my greens, I am using yellow greens, and for this lightest yellow green, honestly, it's only really used to map out my shadows because I was not comfortable with coloring this stamp because I hadn't actually colored it really. I might have used it once. So I didn't have a great idea of what it should look like. And I, of course, didn't pull up any references because, well, that would be too easy, I guess. But it's there as kind of like a safety net for me. So you can just skip that one if you want. It really doesn't need to be that light. But I'm just going through each of the colors from lightest to darkest and then back out, blending it together. Sometimes the more you layer these markers, the better they look. And then after I did that one, I did the opposite. So my left and right cupcakes are green. Very unappealing color for food. And now I'm going to use that same color and I am going to color the middle cupcake liner. This is another one of those areas where I just really wasn't 100% sure. I did kind of go for it with the cupcake liners though. I gotta say, as many cupcakes as I have eaten, as many cupcakes as I've made, I don't really pay attention to what the cupcake liners look like. I just don't. I eat the cupcake. I'm not concerned with the paper. But this is another thing. You could look up a reference and it would be much easier. But I did not. Moving on to my purple color, I have BV as my darkest violet. I found that this one is just the best of the markers that I have because I don't own a lot of violets or even blue violets. So I tend to use BV08 as my darkest for my purples a lot of the time. I'm basically just doing the same thing I did with the green cupcakes, except for with the purple colors. And then once I have finished this, my left and right cupcake will get purple liners. I would like to thank you guys for participating in the poll that I had created where I was asking which stamp sets you guys prefer to see. I've had a few questions before about why I use Lawn Fawn so much, and people want me to branch out. Now, I'm fine with doing that as long as it's actually going to be watched. I know in the past, a lot of my MFT, Hero Arts, Mama Elephant, Clearly Besotted, those cards don't really get the attention as the Lawn Fawn ones. So I can incorporate those more. Like I said, I want it to be for a reason. If no one's interested in watching it, there's really no point in me videoing it. I can just make a card much faster off camera and post it on Instagram. So I do appreciate for the feedback. I got a lot of Mama Elephant, Hello Bluebird, some MFT, Clearly Besotted. I like all those. I don't own a lot of Hello Bluebird though. But you will see a little bit more MFT, Clearly Besotted, and Mama Elephant in the future. All right, back to my coloring. I am just coloring in the little coffin, pretty basic. And then I'm going to color the cupcakes. They're all going to be the same sort of chocolate colors. I'm using the E20 family as well as, I want to say it was E49. I'm really not doing great with this voiceover, you guys. I'm creating dots for the texture. I'm also using darker dots in the areas that I felt like it would be more shaded. This is not the easiest thing for me to do either for some reason. I guess I just need more practice. But this was such a fun card to make. I 100% want to make these in like the little dinosaurs for Mama Elephant and the little gingerbreads. Oh, that's coming. I have to do that. All right, here I'm stamping little spiders and little sprinkles. And I guess the little spiders are kind of like little sprinkles. And this looks kind of gross, honestly. Looks like spider eggs. And later when I add some white detail, it does not make it look any better. So I'm sorry if anybody has like a fear of spiders and can't stand spider stamps. I thought it was kind of fun. I think my boys would like it. And here's that white detail that just makes them look kind of wet and more like spider eggs to me somehow. Not that I've ever really seen a whole lot of spider eggs that look like that, but feels like it could be spider eggs. Now here I am using my sentiment. This is just one from a random set that I have from Lawn Fawn, I'm pretty sure. And I'm just going to heat emboss this in white. I kept it with Happy Birthday just because I don't tend to do a lot of like trick or treat, Happy Halloween cards. And I do know people who have October birthdays who love the whole like Halloween color and all that stuff. So that's why I went with that. And here, just heat setting it real quick. And then I realized that the Happy didn't show up the best on that green liner just because it's such a light color. So I am going in and giving a little drop shadow to my letters with just a fine liner. This helped it stand out a little bit. I do think you can read it pretty well in person. On camera, it was a little bit harder to see. After that, my card is complete. Thank you all so much for watching. I will be back with another video soon. Bye!